All right. With all your consents, this monthly class is recorded. So, good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to NP Financials monthly master class, 8th of October 2023. We have a good. Someone else, yeah, Ben. So just hold on. Let me admit. Good afternoon, Ben. How are you? We have just started now. If someone is not talking and he has not muted his microphone, I request you to mute so that I'm not hearing my voice back. Yeah, because that is a feedback system. Uh, we have a quite a full house. Kerry is there. Good afternoon, Kerry. How are you? So Kerry will be helping us to understand trading much better with myself and Marty will try our best. Again, anyone, if someone is not talking, please unmute your mic, or else I need to mute all of you because I'm hearing sometimes I'm hearing my own voice, which can be a little bit annoying. So please mute your microphone, which is the first icon at the bottom first icon to the left hand side. So please mute your microphone, and then when you are talking you can unmute. Yeah, all right, so that is very good. So yeah, let's get started. So what we'll start is we'll start with the war. Unbelievable, unfortunate, but Israel has declared a war against Palestine, I believe. And our topic is not the war today. Our topic is how market knew it before, 12 hours before. 12 hours before, Israeli Prime Minister declared that we are at war with Palestine, or they say Hamas. Market knew it 12 hours before. What is that 12 hours? If you are observing market before going to bed, and just after, maybe when the market is opening, now it is 10 o'clock, when the daylight saving started on the 2nd of October last week. That's why you could not have the monthly class on the first Sunday, generally on first Sunday of each month, because some people will be 1 hour late, like I used to be, like someone is still in the habit of maybe 1 hour late. So we skip that, and we are doing it on 8th of this month. Otherwise, we'll always do on the first Sunday of each month. So the next one will be on, and let me tell you now, the next one will be on 5th of November. 5th of November, yeah. Very unfortunate when Israel got attacked by some, as per the, we are not discussing politics here, but the war, if I write on the with the war now versus the difficult pronunciation for me, Yom Kippur War, which was on October 10, 1973. Just after 50 years, they're again fighting. We are not in support of war, but again, our subject is not war. But this is very relevant. Because this is very relevant, that's why we are discussing today's war. How market comes to know much before. Because anyone will go for this answer before I give you an answer. Anyone wants to talk something on this? How market comes to know much before exact thing happening, even like a sensitive thing like war. Anyone and everyone is welcome, because this is a collaborative session. Yeah, you talk more, we talk less, we listen. Go. Anyone wants to contribute, just unmute and then talk and then contribute, and then simple answer. It's not rocket science. Simple answer. No.
Erratic movements.
Erratic movement. Yeah, erratic movements. Yep. Anyone else?
Is it the goods that they're buying up?
The goods they are buying up. That's Andrew and Marty. Yeah, very good, very good. Anyone else? As always, I'll give you a very simple answer, because at NP Financials we believe in simplicity. And my simple my and in trading there is no wrong or right. Similar answer. The one only answer is right, which is making money. My answer to this is why market knows everything, because market consists of you, me, us, we, George Soros, Paul Tudor Jones, Carl Icahn, and stalwarts like Warren Buffett. So every one of them, like Warren Buffett, like George Soros, like Carl Icahn, like Paul Tudor Jones, each one of them are billionaires. So we presume they would be having a network like we have a network. So they come to know much before we do, much before we do. Sri say created fear and sell off. Yeah, so that was the aftermath. But the question was how market comes to know each and every time much before even tsunami. I'll go and show you how market came to know. Not That was my term. I may be wrong in the English phrasing, but I'll show you how market was stagnant just before the tsunami, because there was a Kobe earthquake support which was coming from 1995, and tsunami happened in 2011, I think. And this war also have declared, I think Saturday, but market started reacting with a this kind of bar, which we are seeing Nasdaq. I'll show you four instruments to support what I said, that market always know before, because market consists of people like very influential people, very influential people. And Sri says market really quiet with dozy. Yeah, dozy means indecision. Yeah, absolutely. Influential people like I mentioned, so they come to know much before we do. Even if you are intraday trading, if you are trading intraday, in which a news maybe like the purchaser what is that, PMI, yeah, but index, purchaser measurement index, something like PMI, or a PMI, something like that. The small news, not small, but intraday relevant news like PMI actually comes maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds before we come to know in Forex Factory. Yeah, we come to know in Forex Factory. That's why we have collaborated with Financial Juice. So if you go to Financial Juice and type in NP here, it will take you to NP Financials, and we'll give you the link there. Myself or Marty can give you the link. And that's why we have collaborated with Financial Juice, which is very quick, which is extremely quick in news items, much quicker than Forex Factory, much quicker than the Forex Live, because they squawk. They squawk means they talk a lot. They squawk a lot. But even with due respect to Financial Juice, we pay respect to the market. So we had a 18th of August low. I'll just show you the daily on Nasdaq, and I'll show you euro, dollar index, gold, other three, and Nasdaq. This is the fourth one. So if I show you the Nasdaq on a daily chart, you will see this was the low of the dozy, which Sri just now said. And if I ignore this Sunday bar, so this will be a tremendous morning star. Dhanuka is studying now candlestick in his module and units. Like right, Dhanuka, this is a morning star. And any low of a bullish candlestick pattern like this morning star is a support. So our job is to draw a support on this morning star. And similarly, our job was also to draw a support at this point, which was a piercing. So that was a piercing there. That was a piercing here at 14,688, and back to back. Look at this candle or bar. What type of bar? At 14,688, we call it NP Financials. We have given a special name. What is that?
All sellers out.
All sellers are. Gautam, fantastic, brilliant. Sri also said all sellers are. So that means what? Just by drawing this simple support from previous piercing, we got all sellers out, and this phenomenon also we have given a special name on a previous support. What is that? What is
Is
the
it a crack and snapback path?
Yeah, brilliant, fantastic, brilliant. Crack and snapback. So Ben, that was Ben. Crack and snapback at a support. And look at this fellow again. ASO. My goodness, it is uncanny how this market works. ASO. And this was ASO. Yeah, all sellers out, all sellers out. And this three candle combination, as Ben said, was a morning star, a bullish candle. Yeah, morning star. All right. So this happened on 21st of September. Let's move on. So it is happening. Good. And we saw a hammer. We saw another one. Interestingly, at this point, my goodness, look at this fellow on the 18th August low. So if I go to the 18th August low, so this was the 18th August low. This is the one where we saw the morning star. So morning star low is a support. So previous one was a piercing support. We saw another all sellers out and a morning star. All sellers out and all sellers out. Everything happening on these supports. We are extremely big on support and resistance and bar by bar. At NP Financials, we evaluate the evolution of the candlestick pattern of the market through bar by bar, because no one knows the right hand side, but we know the everyone knows the left hand side. So from our 10,000 or 30,000 hours of experience, what we can say, this is all sellers out, all sellers out, all sellers out. And your advantage is you are also getting trained at the same understanding level. So this is the harami which we saw on this date 27. So something is cooking. We don't know what the war or whatever it is. So we saw all sellers out. We saw a harami. So just to revisit our candlesticks. So this is harami. I'll write a H, and this is again a morning star. So everything happening there, and we saw another all sellers out. My goodness. So everything is happening now as we are talking, and then a piercing again a piercing. We can write this one here as a piercing, again a piercing, and then you go boom. So this is the war. So probably market is anticipating something is cooking in the Gaza Strip, and that's what they were in technical term. This is a head and shoulder. This is the head. This is the right shoulder, and this was the left shoulder, and we can join the head and shoulder, but that was not our discussion point. Our discussion point, why this big for 5% in a single day. And if I go to the 15-minute chart, when we are watching this market, the non-farm payroll, if you remember, came at 23:30, that is 11:30, and even with good news, this fellow went down. The good news, this fellow went down. And what was the good news there? Let me show you. Let me share the good news with you. The Forex Factory. If I go to the Forex Factory, and then show you the good numbers which United States reported on 6th of October in the form of non-farm payroll. We call it non-farm payroll or non-farm employment change, which is nothing but the change in the number of employed people during the previous month, excluding the farming industry. There is a difference between this non-farm and ADP. We don't follow the ADP. Which comes 2 days before. If I do a filter here and take this out, because they are not important, and apply the filter. So the ADP non-farm employment came bad, which is 89 on Wednesday. And what is the difference between this ADP non-farm and non-farm? ADP exclude farming industry and government, but non-farm only excludes the farming, not the government. All right. So I'll come to this level of 3.8% unemployment, but I'll come to that later on. First, let me conclude this discussion. So the non-farm came at 11:30, which is the second most important news after the FOMC Federal Open Market Committee meeting, FOMC, happens once in a quarter, where the 14 members, 1-4 members of the Fed, which is the Reserve Bank of America, and I was told that's a private company. I don't know. If anyone knows, can let me know. So then FOMC is number 1 and non-farm number 2, and this came at 11:30. If you can see here, 11:30, and this was the bar at 11:30. So this is the bar at 11:30, and this bar could not break. This individual bar on a 15-minute chart when I was watching the market because of the non-farm payroll. I was not knowing the war was coming or whatever is coming. On 18th of August, it low was 14,553. As I showed you, it did not break. And then what happened? And at an NP Financials, we have given a special name to this type of things happening at a support. And what is that? Anyone? When it breaks the support and goes back? Yeah.
Crack and snapback.
Yeah, Ben says crack and snapback. Vijayta says crack and snapback. Vijayta is remembering things very, very well. That does not mean that you people are not, none of you are remembering things. But yeah, she is having a good memory. And the only difference between an amateur and a professional trader is the observation. Number 1, what extra the professional trader is observing, what the other amateurs are not observing. Number 1, and number 2 is remembering what as Kerry would probably again say about the new what was that? Not new normal, actually, new you or new past, something like that. Kerry will contribute on that later on. So this is a crack and snapback. So the first one is observation, and second one is remembering that observation and putting into practice. So we saw this crack and snapback here, and then rest is history. My goodness, I cannot even go to that top. That top here, my goodness. In 27 bars of 15 minutes chart, it went up how many? 3.45%. 3.45% after the non-farm payroll came good. Even when the non-farm payroll came good, the dollar index was supposed to do good. The dollar index was supposed to do good because the non-farm payroll actually came well. It came better, as you can see. Where is that non-farm payroll gone? Yeah, this is the non-farm payroll, which came 336,000. Previous month it was 227,000, and the forecast for this month was 171,000, and the actual came 336,000. And here it says the actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. What currency we are talking here? Anyone?
US dollar.
USD. Very good. Excellent. US dollar. US dollar, because that is the United States non-farm payroll, not Australia, not Canada, not New Zealand. Although the although the employment and unemployment news from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, which are commodity producing countries, as probably Andrew know because he has just started, will go big on that. Commodity producing countries, the employment and what is that opposite? Employment and unemployment. At times I forget English because when I'm talking Forex, it only comes to me Forex. Anyway, so non-farm and not employment and unemployment news. Employment, unemployment news of Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, which are the 3 commodity producing countries, can be good, can be actually powerful. But the non-farm is the most powerful, and it says that 336 should be good, but it is not. Let me show you that. So when I go to the dollar index, where is the dollar index gone? DX is the symbol. Dollar index, this is the mini lot, this is the standard lot. We will select for the charting software mini lot. We trade micro lot when we have $1,000 account. We trade mini lot when we have a $10,000 account, and we trade standard lot when we have a $100,000 account. And we trade, if you have $1 million account, or if you are trading through our partner firm funded account, then you'll be trading $100 per point. $100 per point. Yeah. All right, so let's see dollar index, what it did on that very moment when the good news, so-called good news came. Let's see. Yeah, so the good so the good news came here 23:30, and it went up a little bit. Of course it went up, and after that it collapsed. After that it collapsed almost 1% in 12 bars, 12-15 minutes bar. That means 3 hours. 3 hours it collapsed, more than what is appreciated on the good news. So that is why not always follow this fellow, what he's saying, like Forex Factory. Not always this is correct. In fact, more often than not, I repeat, more often than not, the it will just do the opposite because it to probably create a trap. But this is not a trap. This is not a trap, probably, because I was wondering what is this, why this is happening, and when I wake up next morning and I saw the news of the war. Yeah, so that is what always. Now, so I showed you the Nasdaq. Now I'll show the dollar index in a daily time frame, how it was behaving from technical perspective, how it was behaving just before the war. Yeah, so just before the war, which was declared on this 6th of October night, what happened on dollar index? I'll ask you one by one. What is the potential happening on 3rd of October on a 1989 yearly swing high? If I have to show you this 1989 yearly swing high, I have to show you daily. Those of you who have joined new, very new, like Tyron, Andrew, many of you who are have joined new or who is listening to me for the first time in the master class, you can ask any question. If I am moving fast, then probably say, Partha, you are moving like a rocket speed, I don't understand anything, please stop and repeat. Or we always say, ask questions, do not suffer in silence. Yeah, please raise your hand and ask questions if you do not understand what I said. All right, so if I go to the yearly high of 1989, if you do not ask question, then probably I'll believe that you understood everything, or I'll not say the other word. Okay, 1989. So this is the 1989 high, my dear friend. 1989, this is a peak. We have a concept called up bar, down bar, peaks, drops, P star, T star. We are extremely big on those P star, T star, and peaks and troughs. So this was a peak, P-E-A-K. This was a not P-E-E-K, peak. Yeah, so this was a peak at 1989, which was creating a havoc on 3rd of October. So if I go back a little bit, all right. So at this time, something is cooking. I don't know. Is it war, or is it a 12 weeks run? Actually, it happened 11 weeks. I was about to post a blog that in last 30 years, 30 years, at a stretch. I was talking to Ben in his class last Friday, I think. We are discussing about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and when we were talking at 3 o'clock in his class, this fellow was green. Because the war has not broken at that time. So this was green. So this was 12 weekly gain of dollar index. 12 weekly gains in dollar index has never happened in last 30 years. 30. Similarly, 12 weekly fall of euro dollar. 12 weekly fall of euro dollar when we are talking at 3 o'clock Friday, when you remember that. 12 weekly fall was not happened to euro in last 30 years. Yeah, 30 years. So that was quite a phenomenon, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I marked it 12, and I deleted this morning because of the war. Because of the war, this fellow becomes a hammer, big hammer. All right, so let me do not mix up subject. Let me go to dollar index, and then conclude my discussion on the dollar index. So what we are seeing on the dollar index, we are seeing a 1989 yearly swing high was creating havoc, and on that 1989 yearly swing high, and on that Fibonacci monthly 50%, 50% monthly Fibonacci, 50% monthly Fibonacci, it was doing a crack and snapback. All of you are with me, except the new students who have joined recently. They will be on speed, but every one of you are okay with me. Are you understanding what I'm saying, or should I repeat? Any questions so far?
Yeah, all good.
All good, Ben says. Ben, and yes, Ben says yes, and all good. Who said big? I don't know. All right. So this was a crack and snap back, and after that, all right, fantastic. So let's see what happened here. Yeah. So this is what 1, 2, 3, 3 red candles. What does it signify? Anyone? Danuka or anyone?
Rising
Black
three.
cross.
3 black crows. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. How come we are calling black when the color is red?
That's because of Japanese time, white and black.
Exactly correct, Danuka. When Munehisha Homa, the father of candlestick, invented this 400 years back, there was no computer, there is nothing. So he was painting in a paper with pencil the black shadows on these candles, and he was keeping this as white. That is why the name still there are 3 black crows and opposite is 3 white soldiers, like this 3 white soldiers. Even if the computer is printing green, but white or green, they are bullish. Red or black, they are bearish. So this is 3 white soldiers. Opposite is 3 black crows. There is a tremendous opportunity to go this, but NP Financial says it can break 1, it cannot break 2. So this is 1 and this is 2. Always reminds me of the dollar value. Or 1 and 2. So this low has to be taken out, not yet done. So this is dollar index, what it is doing with the 3 black crows. I'll write it down. 3 black crows. The more we practice, the more we remember. The more we practice, the more we remember. So I encourage all of you to do this while you are talking to yourself, or you are teaching your spouse or anyone, any friend. Like, the best way to learn is to teach. So please start teaching your friends and ask them to join NP Financials. 1 and 2. So this, always write this 1 and 2. It can break 1, cannot break 2. We have a rule. And 3 black crows. All right. So let's go to the 15 minutes chart to see what happened, and then I'll go to the euro and then go to the gold. Yeah, we already discussed this. So this is the evening star. Sorry, this is the bearish engulfing. Bearish engulfing, and up, and then the war, and then it collapsed. So now let's go to euro, just opposite to dollar index, because there are mirror image. Mirror image of dollar index is euro dollar, because in the dollar index there are 6 currency pairs. And who can tell me what are these 6 currency pairs? Especially Andrew, who has just completed this class last week. Anyone? Dollar index 6 currency pairs.
Euro.
Yeah, euro
Anyone
1,
else?
It's
Pound.
Japanese yen.
pound, yen, yeah.
Then Swedish and Norwegian krona.
Not NOK, Swedish krona, yes, not NOK, not Norwegian Korea. No, Swedish krona is correct. 4. What are the other 2?
Swiss.
Swiss franc, yeah. 5. What is the other one?
Aussie dollar.
No, my dear friend, not being only because we are in Australia.
Canadian
Aussie
dollar.
Canadian dollar. Yeah, that is the 6th one. I wish Aussie dollar is there, but a too smaller country financially. Yeah. So we do not interact too much on the mining industry even, because Canada and China is winning over Australia. That is why Canadian dollar is there, not the Aussie dollar. All right. So let's go to the euro, which is the opposite of dollar index. Why? Because USD is the term currency here for the euro, and USD is the base currency here on the dollar index. So let's go up, let's inverse this. Let's inverse this and go to euro USD. and see what is happening. So exactly same thing happened. If I go to show you the daily chart of Euro USD, what is first I'll start with weekly. I already start upon that, but there were 11 weeks of my goodness collapse of this, and it got stuck at the monthly low of March 2023 swing. That is why these lines are so important, my dear friend. They are created, they will create magic in your trading if you draw this line. If you do not draw this line, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, then possibly we are falling behind. All right, so the weekly low of this fellow, week 01, W01 means week 01 2023 was at this point, and the monthly low of March 2023 swing low was here. So it stopped at this zone of support. It stopped at this zone of support. Where is my rectangle gone? Yeah, this is my rectangle. And so this is the zone of support, and did the crack and snap back. And now maybe this is a fantastic hammer, excellent hammer. And then this probably it will retrace we don't know how much it will retrace, but our Fibonacci knows if we draw a Fibonacci from here to here, it can retrace up to this level of 23.6 or 38.6 or 50%. And if we say display percent, display price, it will show us the display price. Those of you who have joined new, please do not get overwhelmed. Please do not feel that you are not into this, because we have not gone to that module, not gone to that unit. So you will all, but we have given you an opportunity to listen to us, to me, more to Marty, more to Kerry, so that we all are helping you to bring up to speed. All right, so this is the zone of support when it is stuck into, and then we are seeing a brilliant hammer and possible reversal. Now let's see Euro, what happened on the daily chart. Yeah, so 3 days before the war, so we saw the same thing. We saw engulfing here, not a morning star, because it did not close above the midpoint. So we can say bullish engulfing here, and then three white soldiers. So in dollar index we saw 3 black crows, but in euro we saw 3 white soldiers, although the color is green. Any questions so far? Are you understanding the relationship between the geopolitical and other extreme factors in not only in foreign exchange but also in different markets, in different asset classes? Because I have already touched upon Forex as an asset class in the form of Euro USD, index as an asset class as in dollar index, and the stock market as an asset class as in NASDAQ. So we have already completed and touched upon three asset classes getting affected by a geopolitical major news, like which is happening now after 50 years, 50 years. Yeah. So we don't know who will get involved. Iran may get involved. Russia may get involved. Yeah, we don't encourage this war to continue. We strongly believe and hope that this war will be over in tomorrow. But who knows? No one knows. All right.
Sorry,
so now
I got a question.
go.
Sorry, Partha. Just a quick question. How is this war having a positive impact on the market?
Positive impact on the market? Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Yeah. Okay. Anyone wants to answer this question on Vic? I'll answer that after you try to answer. Everyone is open to answer Vic's question.
Support funding could come from America.
Very good. Very in-depth. I like it. Support funding coming from United States. So they are buying United extremely. This is just on the dot answer by Marty Stewart. Excellent, Marty. Everyone understood what Marty said? If you have not understood what Marty said, please ask him a question, not to me. Go.
So, Marty, you're saying that when war comes along, that it gives opportunity for things to be produced and speeds up production of certain things, which makes the markets go up?
I'm more suggesting in the ways that America might be in a lot of debt at the moment to other countries, and saying that they have issued support to Ukraine, to Russia, which they have threatened to cut off just recently to pay their bills to prevent a government shutdown they were anticipating, say, a week or two ago. So I would assume some kind of funding would be expected or something like that along the lines towards the countries that are fighting at the moment. So wherever the money flows, I don't know.
Brilliant. Brilliant answer. Any other question or any other thoughts?
I think, Father, I think that funding for America at this point in time is unlikely because Biden doesn't know whether he's coming or going from one day to another. So it might take a month before he can make up his mind.
Agree with Tyron. Tyron is very friendly, very friendly with us from very long period of time. He is with us and supported us, and he is very knowledgeable. Thanks, Tyron. Anyone wants to contribute anything on this? Otherwise, I'll give you just an example. I'll also touch upon the okay. I'll answer this question. Vic, just give me 3 minutes to complete this gold thingy, and then I'll come back to that. But Marty has already answered this. Yeah, I'll just give an example. Is it okay with you, Vic?
Yes, Partha.
Okay. So I'll go to spot gold, the last in my table, which I want to discuss, and then I'll take all your questions, and I'll request Marty and then Kerry to take us through. And we'll go to gold, and gold was happening the same time, same problem. Gold was doing, oh my goodness, this is a precious metal. Yeah, this is a precious metal, and it was falling from, look at this. Look at this. So if you want to really observe what is happening and remember the historical things, the main point to start is the yearly. You'll immediately see that the all-time high of gold from whatever the inception point is 1921.2. 1921.2 was all-time high till 2011. Then it collapsed. It exactly collapsed 50% of the time, 50% to the Fibonacci level. So I'll show you that magic of 50%. So from this low, which is 253, and this low is 254. So I'll take this one and then go to there, and magically you will see gold has actually retraced absolutely to the dot of 50%. I'll make it bold. 50% and then 50%. Yeah, so that is the magic of gold. 50% Fibonacci, and then after that 50% retracement, it actually skyrocketed to break the previous high of 1921. It trying to break the 1921, and it broke in 2020. In 2020, after 10 years, it broke, but it could not close beyond this point, 1921. It could not close beyond that 1921. So in that case, 1921.2 is a tremendous resistance for gold, and probably Marty will again talk about gold. And 2075.3 was the high of 2020. And then on what happened on 2021 is yearly. This is a yearly chart. So bearish harami, and then a dozy, and then we are here. Not a single one has closed above 1921. Now let's go to the daily chart. What we are seeing. So from 1920, this was the high, yearly high I showed you, and this is the 1921. This is the 1921. Yeah. So 1921, we saw some bearish activities, and then just before the war, what is happening here? On the Friday night. So this is the fourth asset class which I'm touching, which is the commodity. So we spoke about index, commodity, foreign exchange, euro, dollar, and Nasdaq. Yeah, stock market. We covered all of them as of now. So what we'll do, we'll see the 15 minutes chart for this gold. 15 minutes chart for this gold. What happened on the just before the war? Yeah. So this is the 15 minutes chart. This is the US dollar strengthening on the good news, on the so-called good news of non-farm payroll. When US dollar strengthens, then US dollar is the term currency. Gold plummets. Gold plummets because gold is the base currency. And after that, the war came. Just the announcement, and gold appreciated 1.35%. Yeah, the 1.35%. So this is how, when I started the topic, how market comes to know much before. I'll just conclude that topic with an example of Japanese yen. All of you know it, but this is my favorite. So I'll again visit Japanese yen. Patience is important, yeah. Patience is very important. And the 1st and 5th of the market, 1st to 5th, and 11th and 21st. Those are the things which I keep on reminding me, that 1st to 5th of any month, and then 11th, and then 21st and 22nd are extremely important dates. Yeah. So yeah. So this is how market remembers. Let me show you how market remembers. Yeah. Kobe earthquake happened. Unfortunately, in 1995. Mother Nature was involved, no one else. So Kobe earthquake was happened, and due to this, I'll try to answer what Vic's question, which Marty has already answered. So when the Kobe earthquake happened, unfortunately, in 1995, I think it happened in January, I think so. February it happened, and then my market came down heavily, because this phenomenon of market coming down on a natural disaster like Kobe earthquake, which is the biggest in before tsunami, because of the panic. It came down. And remember, USD is the base here. So USD is actually coming down. Yeah, USD is actually coming down. And then what happened? The thing called repatriation, and that means what? The splash of the country, or the many cities which were affected by Kobe earthquake has to be rebuilt. When they needs to be rebuilt, then what the Japanese companies will do? They will hire the American contractor, because they are the biggest. Yeah, even if we may say the China, but not. They will hire the US companies to rebuild. Of course, they are capable, but everyone is panicked, and most of them are lost in the Kobe. So they will hire the American contractor. They will engage Americans to rebuild their cities, and that is why they have to pay the contractors in US dollar. That is why it goes off. That means the USD is going up, because they are buying USD to pay their contractor. But what Marty says is absolutely correct. And then after that, what happens? Look at this. Watch this out. 79.70. 79.70. Watch this out. I'll keep that Kobe earthquake in front of my eyes, so to show you the magic. Look at this. So what is happening here? For 6 months. 6 months, nothing happened. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 months, market just stalled at Kobe support. Kobe support of 79.70. And after that, what happens? Look at this. So this is tsunami. Again, Mother Nature decided the law of Japanese yen. we call Mother Nature decides the law of Japanese yen, as she did in Kobe 1995. She repeated this. History repeats itself. So she repeated the same thing in October 2021. Again, the same thing happened. Initially it came down, and then US dollar skyrocketed. Look at this. US dollar skyrocketed. Yeah, because of the contract things and all. So this is what the reason being, and the different reasons are differently interpreted. War is different from Mother Nature. and management failure in share market is different from from a war like scenario. So this is how I think market works differently in different extreme conditions, like the war which was going on for Russia, Ukraine, and which is unfortunately unfolded yesterday, day before yesterday, between Israel and Palestine. So I tried to help you that even if you don't know this war happening, don't worry, nothing will happen to us, because we already know that 3 black crows was happening on dollar index, and 3 white soldiers was happening at a support for euro, so with our technical knowledge, we are least interested. But the thing which was interesting was how market behaves and how market participants, like we, us, and everyone, including George Soros, actually behaves in a particular situation, and much in advance, much in advance. Yeah, so that was my primary topic of discussing how market knew much before the actual things happening, like war or any other thing. Now I'll give you 12 minutes of my time, probably, or less, depending on your question, to ask me or anyone question, and then I'll request Marty to talk, and then probably Kerry. So over to you, to all of you. Please ask questions. Any questions? Every questions are welcome. Any setup, any asset class, any psychological, any moving average, anything.
Arthur,
Arthur.
sorry, Andrew, you go first.
Sorry. Thanks, Ben. Just a really basic one. When you're drawing those weekly lows and monthly lows, is that at the bottom of the wick or where it actually closes?
Bottom of
Those key
bottom
of
and
the wick.
top.
Okay.
We call it swing low. We call it swing low and swing high. That was a good question from Andrew, and that the beautiful nature of this software, itfinance.com Pro Real Time, is if you draw a line and then make this inferior time frames. This is American, this is what English I don't know. Inferior time frames. If you select this display in inferior time frames, all these will come and show up in quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily, so that you don't have to repeat those lines. Did I answer your question, Andrew?
You did, but it's made me think of another question. Does a marker at the bottom of the wick or top of the wick has less significance or importance than where it closes then? So if you find a support line at where it closes, is that somehow stronger than the bottom of the wick?
This is very interesting question. I love this question, because most of the time I prefer most of the time swing high, swing lows, because that's how we have established our proprietary edge of knowing the trend, which is the $1 million question, through the printing of peaks and troughs, P star, T star, and UD, up and down. So all these P star, T star, when you'll be in that module and in it, you'll come to know, Andrew, all these P star, T star, PT, peaks and troughs, and UD, up bar and down bar, are all drawn from the high and the low. But at times, you are right, but at times the close is also plays a very important role. As I'll show you this one, you will be amazed to see the gold. The gold, if you see the struggle which is going on a yearly, not forget about weekly, monthly, on a yearly chart, look at the struggle happening, and it is not close. Look at the open and close of this fellow, and look at the open and close of this fellow. This fellow means the entire year, and this entire year. I'm a little bit confused, so I have drawn all the lines. So I have drawn the yearly close, I have drawn the yearly open, I have drawn the yearly close. Why? Because I am not sure which line market will respect. But to add to this, this is not very often. This is seldom. So close is more important, seldom, very few. But high and low are more important, very often. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you.
Not at all. Next question. Ben asking something.
I'll ask my question at the end if there's still time after Kerry and Marty.
You'll ask your question after Kerry and Marty, yeah? Anyone else?
Yeah, but I have one question.
Go, Dhanuka.
Yeah, like now we looked at like different time, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. So depending on like, say I based in Australia, so that like US market starts around 12:30 night. So how do you keep track of it? Like, no, I can't monitor at that time. So how do you trade in like, I know the biggest volume you have it like end of London session and start of New York session, but you can't get up at that time. So how do you trade at that time?
Excellent question. Brilliant question. Everyone understood what Dhanuka is asking? Dhanuka is asking about the volume on the different phases of the market. To answer Dhanuka's question, I'll break this market. I think it is already written in Basics of Trading Module 1, Unit 1, where we talked about time overlapping. So Dhanuka, the 3 phases of the market. The first one is Australasian session, in which New Zealand, Australia, Japan start trading. What does it mean? It means that the New Zealand, Japan, and Australia banks open. Yeah, very early in the morning. So that is known as Australasian session. Number 1. If you picture your module 1 unit 1 time in which we have a GMT and different color code, so you will see that Australasia, I can show you, Australasia starts with that number 1. So that is the many people believe that that is possibly thinnest, but we don't believe, because we have been trading for last 18 years, and we believe that it is equally distributed. And let me first complete this time frame. So first is Australasian, then the banks of London, Paris, Germany, banks open, yeah, at that time. So that is Europe session, which is now from 6 p.m. Melbourne time. So Australasian session starts now as we speak at 10 o'clock, 10, and after 1 or 2 weeks it will be 11, thanks to the what is that, daylight saving on. So now it is 10 o'clock Australasian session, and then Europe session starts at 6 p.m. And then we have the New York session. New York session now starts at 12:30 in the morning, or in the midnight, 12:30. So these are the 3 major sessions. Yeah. So what my experience is in last 18 years is, if you keep a record of every day, every Monday, every Tuesday, every day, if you keep a record, and keep a record of the market movements. This was the module 1 unit 1 I was talking about. So this is Australasian session, this is European session, and this is American session. This is when the market opens. Yeah, market means banks. So what I have observed in last 18 years is, in not 100% of the time market moves in American time, not 100% of the time market moves in Europe time, not 100% of the time, not at all in Australasian side. What I would say, but this is my personal observation, not opinion, fact-based observation, that market actually moves 33% of the time in a 10,000 days. If you keep a track record of 10,000 days, or even 1,000 days, which is 3 years, if you keep a 3,000 days track record, you will see 33% of the time market is moving in Australasian session, 33% of the time 33% of the days market is moving on Europe session, and 33% of the days it is moving in American session. So we are least bothered to wake up in the morning to see what the Americans are doing, or spoil our evening to see what the London's or the Europeans are doing, because we see only one bar or one candle, enough of candle, I'll just change it to bar. So we see one bar at a time, only at 10 a.m. as we speak now, and come in a fortnight it will be 11 a.m. But to answer again, to go to the second part of your question, Dhanuka, you will be because we are in Australia. If you really want to catch up the volume, of Australia session, then you need to do the intraday. Which we have a big way of discussing that intraday. We have intraday course, so in which what we discuss in that intraday, for example, if I break this down to Hong Kong, in intraday, we capture the market movements when the market opens and closes during that time. So the Hong Kong market now opens at 12:15. I don't know what it is calculating in a blank chart. Anyway, so maybe Telstra. All right, so so what happens in a intraday, in a 15 minutes chart, or if a 5 minutes chart, let's make it 15 minutes chart, we capture every day from 12:15. This is the one from 12:15. This is the bar here when the market opens, and that is when we are done and dusted. That is when we done and dusted for the Hong Kong. This market open at 12:15. Our own market, Australia, opens every time at 9:50. So when you will be trained by us at intraday trading, we'll be telling you the time frames for the different markets. This ASX opens at 9:50. Where is it? Yeah, this is the one. And then we can be done and dusted either on this 15 minutes, or we can go to that. Similarly, if you go to a phenomenal wonderful phenomenon, I would say CSL, it gives tremendous results in intraday, and this market is very good because this market opens every day of the Monday to Friday in the entire year from 10 a.m. Market opens at 10 a.m. Melbourne time and closes at 4 o'clock Melbourne time. Every day it captures from here 10 o'clock, and we are done and dusted. We may be within 5-6 bars, we are done and dusted. When I say done and dusted, means our daily target is filled in. If we enter here and we close the trade here, we got 154 points, which is 0.62%. Did I answer your question, Dhanuka?
Yeah. So in a way, what I'm asking is that so or other than intraday, we just have a plan, and then we keep the trade open for few days.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. We only see the bar on a particular time. In a fortnight, it will be 11 a.m. Yeah. But if when you will be trained in our advanced strategy of 12 hour, then we'll be asking you to see the chart once in the morning at 12 a.m. and once in the evening at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. 11 a.m. in the morning and 11 p.m. in the evening in our 12 hourly strategy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Any last minute question to me before I hand it over to Marty?
Partha,
In 30 seconds. Yeah, go.
your view on oil now that all these oil producing countries are at war?
Yeah, Iran. I was reading an interesting article that probably Iran is sponsoring this war because they don't like the friendship, growing friendship between Saudi Arabia and Israel. Anyone else commenting on this? Or no, everyone is fearful of talking about. Anyone having any thought on this war before I go to answer Marty's question? No one? All right. Now everyone is fighting proxy war, man. And civilians are dying, unfortunate, but everyone is fighting proxy war. They're hiring people from different countries as the war on Ukraine and Russia is going on. Proxy war, yeah. Actually, not the soldiers are fighting, but the proxy people are fighting. Anyway, talking about the war, we are not politicians to decide, but oil, yeah, oil. Oil is like gold, my dear friend, like this fellow. But before that, I must congratulate Marty for giving a beautiful call on oil in our Discord room. Those of you who are subscriber of, what is this now? All right, of the subscriber of our Elliott Wave Discord, Marty is giving tremendous calls, and the call which he gave 2 new messages. Oh my God! So that's okay. Mark has unread. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so Marty gave a call. Oil call and this one 8990 short on 20th of September 20th of September, he gave a call, and then that call was running with 728 points on 6th of October. So that was a tremendous call by our Elliott Wave leader here, Marty Stewart. That was fantastic call, Marty. Kudos to you. And this has actually increased from 6th of October. Yeah. So now what we are seeing here, look at this, my good, unbelievable. We always start from yearly, and yearly is a mess here because of the proximity of the open and close. So if you see the open here, if you see the close here of this bar is how much? The close here is 7528. Yeah, let me make it a little bit more. 7528, and the close of this is 8053. Yeah, 8053, and the open of this one is 8059, and the current close is, why am I doing this? I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So 8182. So these phone numbers are important for oil. This is how I'll answer Marty's question. So the 2021 close is 7500. This is 8000. This is 8000 roughly. So it has moved. It is closing, opening, and it is closing within, as Andrew asked this question, very relevant question. So it is closing within 500 points. If it is closing within 500 points, let's see what this fellow is doing on a daily. Yeah, so this fellow is possibly is an extremely uptrend from here, from this double bottom, which we'll learn in different modules and units. From this double bottom, it has gone long, it has gone a big way, and then this is going to this is actually possibly reversing from some Fibonacci numbers, which not a problem, Vic, anytime. Thank you for that. All right, so if we go to this percent display, percent and price, yeah, so it is now possibly playing with the 38.2 at 8260, or from this one, which is a daily, yeah, not a problem. So possibly yeah, so it is, I'll delete this daily because it's not required. Yeah, so all right, so the only thing which is coming to my mind is what? Anyone? It has broken
Crack and
three.
snap.
That's it. Crack and snap. Brilliant. Fantastic. The only thing which is coming to my mind is crack and snap back. And to answer your question, Marty, with so much of war happening and so much of transport problem will happen to import and export. So the only way for this fellow to go is up. That is my understanding. And technically, we need to see a crack and snap back, a close above these three lines and high taken out, as we saw in the last meeting. Last meeting, I remember we discussing Japanese yen, and we said in the month of August, or before that, I think August, we were discussing in the monthly class, and then we said that it is going to go to 150, and exactly went to 150. And Girija's favorite is USD JPY. And also on the last meeting, on Ben's question, we said the only way for dollar index to behave is going up. Last meeting, which happened here on this Sunday, 3rd of September, and it went up. So I don't know whether we are maintaining a track record of 80% success. Only time will tell. But this meeting, I can say, if oil is closing above those three lines, and the high of that taken out, rule of 4 happening, that means touch, close above, high taken out, then there will be only one way, go up. Marty, did I answer your question? Now it is up to you, Marty.
Yes, you answered my question. Thank you, Partha.
Thank you very much. Now I'll stop present and Marty will present. Thank you very much.
Hello all, how are we? Can we all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me find out how to share my screen. I believe I want this screen here. And I'll move this. So believe it or not, all the markets Partha has discussed earlier are all the ones I posted my weekly videos about.
Wow.
Yep, so I did the euro, I did NASDAQ, and I also did gold. Um,
Wise men think alike.
at the moment, the US dollar and the euro, like Partha said, is very similar. So what I look at in this guy here, see this wave we've had here, this very much has the characteristics of a retracement wave, meaning that it's very unidirectional. There's not like waves going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. It's just very straight. So this is a typical formation of a B wave. So it's a general construction we can see. So on a weekly time frame, I'm having the possibility that all this correction down is just an A. It's possible that this is just that B wave, where we could anticipate a C wave all the way down here for a theoretical target, all the way down here at around 91.50-ish. So that's the theoretical Elliott wave target down here. So this whole wave here, we have hit the 50% of a Fibonacci or a Gann number here. So maybe, just maybe, it's just going to be a large A, B, and a C pattern unfolding here. Okay, so that's just something I'm contemplating at the moment for the dollar. Has anyone got any questions on that one there? See how there's no real waves to count within this stuff here, as opposed to all this. See, we got waves everywhere in here, but just nothing there. That tells me it's likely just a retracement upwards. Okay, so on the euro, see, same sort of thing. There's no real waves to count there, unlike all this here. See, we have waves here and there, which we can count, but here we can't really count anything in there at all. So if it's true that this is A and this is B, our C wave can come all the way up here for our theoretical target of around $1.20. Okay, so they're just theoretical targets at the moment, providing this is just our B wave. So the video I posted this morning was a 3, and I had a target of 4 up here at around $1.07, $1.72. So that's a possible safe target. Again, we could have your double bottom here, where you might get a target pretty close to that as well. Maybe not so far, but that's a target for number 4 up here. So that's the euro part that discussed. Gold. I have 2 theories on gold at the moment. So it is quite possible our wave 4 has finished here. So our blue 1, our blue 2, our blue 3, our blue 4, which means if it is true that this is blue 4, then blue 5 can only come above this blue 3 here. If that happens, it's possible that on the weekly time frame, this might be a 5th wave extension. Okay, so just like, remember last week our 3rd wave had all these extended waves inside it. We could have that again on our 5th wave here. So this needs to be updated, sorry. But at the moment, it's very possible this 4 is here. If we remember, we have the relationship between our A and C with time and distance. So A was something like that, and B and C is pretty close down here. We also have, we're in between 50% and 61.8 of wave 3 up here. So maybe something is happening here. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5. And we've just made somewhat of a new high here. Maybe this is the very start, maybe. The NASDAQ. So I made the video last week saying once we come up to this area, we can start looking for shorts. So it happened on the close last week. We finally made our wave 4 perfectly in that area. So again, just an A, a B, and a C. So maybe we still need to see one more wave down to just below this 3 before we can start going long again on the NASDAQ. But this 3 here could just be our large B wave. So this might be a top here. Okay. And on Discord, back on, what's this, June the 11th, I first bring it to your attention that it could be making a high where we need to make one last minor wave up before going down. So in June, it's around about here. So we just about, this is when I posted around here. We had our last minor wave up before we started heading down. So maybe this war is what we need to really start driving this market down to complete our C wave. So that's one possibility there. Again, on that same day, I believe, it was posted about the Bitcoin rally was over. Also made a video out for the members on that. And that was back right here. We've now made a new low here. So it's quite possible this is going to make some more waves down to our potential target down here of around $10,000. So has anyone got any questions?
That's a big one, Marty. 10,000 from 25,000.
Yeah, it has potential.
Yeah, from 67 to 25,000.
Absolutely. We also made that call a long time ago up here, I think it was. But anyway, has anyone got any questions or any markets they want to look at or anything about Elliott Wave they would like to discuss?
Well, Ranuka.
Yeah. Quick question. Can you explain what Elliott wave is?
So Elliott Wave is
Thanks,
just
mate.
this way of just labeling our waves so we can read the market and interpret it in a way to come up with a theory of what we anticipate might happen next. Okay.
So you ignore that small pullbacks, like any retracements in between, just looking at the bigger picture only.
So I will anticipate any wave count depending on the time frame. So I could come and look at a 5-minute time frame,
Yeah.
and I could try and label all these with numbers and letters.
Yeah.
So all these waves here have all these little waves inside them. So we can always count a wave somewhere.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just a bunch of repetitive patterns in the markets, which happen pretty consistently over time.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Marty.
No problem. So 2 weeks ago, I started letting people know to short oil around here. And then last week, we said we were still happy with the shorts here. And this is when the market decided to start selling off. So we can anticipate what's going to happen next when we get the wave counts right. It's possible, something like this. Our red 1, our red 2, red 3, our red 4, possible red 5 down here. But again, we have these guys here, which I don't really trust.
Oh, what about the war impact on that? Because if the oil production goes lower, price might go in the other direction.
Yes, absolutely. But we also, on our monthly time frame, we also got these candles here, which tell me it's very possible it can go a little bit lower again, down to $59. But with all this war happening, I don't know. Who knows? So this is just a theory. Really, you're just coming up with your own theory of what's going to happen next. So, any markets of interest for anyone? Anyone want to talk
Yeah,
about
Girija would be interested for Japanese yen, her favorite currency pair.
Japanese yen?
Yeah, she's not talking.
Yes, I was about to request that.
Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Japanese yen. So we got this big guy with the big tails on him. Tells me big people are leaving the market here. At the same time, it might be just a 1, 2, 3. We'll do a small wave forward down, or it might go up a bit higher. Oops. I've got stuff everywhere. So at the moment, Kajira, I would think this market is going to do a 1, a 2, and a 3 at least one more time below this level here. What kind of time frame would you like? Daily?
I'll just like follow the daily one. But
Okay.
yeah, this is like something really, because of like I'm just following the dollar index as well. So it's not showing much change, but maybe it is already on. I was thinking like it will go to the 150, which it actually almost went there. So we were laughing on that one. Yeah, it is actually did the same like the last year.
Yeah. So see on our way up here, see as we go up, the candles are sort of getting smaller and smaller and smaller, thinning out up through here. So this might be another sign that some sellers are starting to come into this market. However, this is a bit of a indecisive candle to me. So yes, I have a short on at the moment, but I'll just see how we go. But I do see more selling than buying happening at the moment.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marty, that there's a big candle, the red candle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just observing that sometimes it suddenly happens in some markets. So like if you have like a stop loss or something,
Yeah.
most probably you like if you're long and stop loss, so the other way around, most probably it will get hit. So if you are planning for long, so how can you protect that from hitting like I have seen like weird candlesticks on some charts. Is that happen often or?
I usually am pretty generous with my stop losses, meaning that if I saw this as a 1 and a 2,
yeah,
and this a 3, and this is a 4, to make sure my pattern is consistent, I'd put my stop loss below my wave 2.
Okay, yeah.
Because if I breach that wave 2, then my wave count has changed, where I would be looking for a impulsive wave. So our impulsive wave is a 1 to 5. I would change it from a 1 to 5 in the impulsive direction downwards once this guy is breached here.
Yeah.
I'll just add 20 cents, Marty, with your consent, to Dhanuka. He asked a question, is it very often? I would say no, this is not. And if this happens, you have a cost of business, which is a part of trading as a business.
Yeah. No, I was not
And
doing
may
long
I
time
add one
support.
more
Yeah.
thing? With this, like, how I know like stop losses are mandatory, like that's for me. I always just put the stop loss before that, any calculation, anything. And just simply, on this sort of scenario, up to me, whatever I read it until today, trend lines are actually help a lot.
Absolutely. And 150 being a psychological number, sell-off can come. So you must book your profit at 150 before you expect a stop loss to be hit.
Yeah.
Marty, should we ask Kerry?
Yeah, ask Kerry. I didn't really have a lot on today, with a little bit uncertain with a few markets. So I just made those videos this morning on all the asset classes and markets you already talked about.
Because of the war, I wanted to talk about those four major ones. Yeah? Anyone wants to discuss any other currency pairs with Marty, or we would request Kerry?
Just quickly, as a new guy, where can I find those videos, Marty?
So at the moment, they are free on our social medias, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Is it on Twitter, Partha?
But if you go to NP Financials on a website and go to the bottom of it,
yeah,
so you will see the links there. Yeah. Type in NP Financials and then scroll down at the end. Yeah.
And can I get into the Discord room there as well through the website?
Yeah, yeah, you can get some are paid services, some are free. You scroll down, absolutely to the down bottom footer level. Yeah, these are the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, yeah, WhatsApp and Google and blog. Yeah. And to join our Discord, Marty, if you go to more and about us, please. And scroll down a little down, slowly. Down, 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 down. Down, down, down. This is the second part of, yeah, stop. This is the second part answered. Discord in yellow at the right hand side, ongoing support after Telegram. Yeah, just on top of, yeah. We offer an extensive unmatched range of ongoing support through email to the Discord. If you click on Discord, Marty, click Andrew. This is what you need to do to join our Discord. Make sense?
Got it. Thank you.
All right, Kerry, please help us to survive in this marketplace with your magic. Thank you, Marty. Thanks a ton.
Well,
No problem.
I'm not going to have enough time to do what I'd actually planned. So I'm more than happy to maybe record it and you can distribute it that way. But yeah, don't want to sort of start something that I can't finish in that amount of time. I'm not sure if anyone just even has some questions that they might like to ask rather than me starting something that I can't sort of finish.
How long it will take, Kerry? Sorry for that. We did not realize that. So is it 45 minutes?
No.
Or 60?
It would probably be the 60 minutes, yeah.
Okay,
But
let us
yeah,
take
like I said, I'm more than happy.
Kerry, just hold on. Let us take a vote. Who will hang on next 60 minutes to hear brilliance of Kerry Brown? Me, I'm ready.
I'm in. I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Everyone is ready. So Kerry, please go. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, no problem.
We'll be with
well,
you.
hopefully I don't disappoint.
We'll ask you hundreds of questions.
Well, if anyone actually has questions for, the 30 minutes, I'm happy to answer what I can rather than go through this. It's up to people what they want to do.
No, you please start and complete whatever time it takes.
Okay. So, well, at the moment, I am looking at
you need to
fear
share
and
your
doubt.
screen. You need to share your screen if you are showing something.
Pardon me? Oh, I'm not sharing the screen, am I? Okay, hang on. Here we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
is everyone seeing that one?
Not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. Oh my God, fear and doubt. Who is this? Yeah, we can see your screen.
We've got a lot going on at the moment here with the internet, so it may be a little bit of a lag. Okay, so fear and doubt. It's such a significant part of everyone's life. It creates so many problems. And I mean, for Shakespeare to have actually had something about it, then obviously it's been a long time that things have been an issue. So uncertainty is the biggest problem. Fear and doubt is our response to uncertainty. It is a natural response. So fear obviously is an emotion and it is completely natural. And doubt is also natural as well. We can see it as assessing risk, identifying the threats, evaluating and solving problems, and making our decisions. So some people see it as something it's a good thing. It's there, it helps you stop avoidable mistakes. It helps you identify areas that you need to expand and to learn more, and it's good for personal development. For others, they use that to actually judge themselves. They start doubting their abilities, they start doubting their knowledge, and they let fear take over and they actually stop that personal development process. And if it happens repeatedly and it happens over a period of time, then obviously it becomes a habit. As we've talked before, the more it wires, or the more it fires, the more it wires. So when things become a habit, we start becoming or developing a mindset. Rather than a positive, negative mindset, we start looking at a fear and doubt mindset and start looking at things that will actually inhibit us from moving forward. I've found over my experience that a lack of a formula or a structure or a way of actually being able to evaluate the process being the biggest problem. I've found that structure and having a formula for things is much easier than not having a formula. So I have often used with my clients whether something is helpful or unhelpful, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, desirable or undesirable, and constructive or destructive. So if we look at, say, making a mistake, it can be unpleasant and undesirable outcome. But if we learn our lesson, we can have it being helpful and constructive. So it's really the way we look at it. So fear and doubt, when it becomes a mindset, not as a normal, I suppose, way we look at things as that normal reaction. So we have FOMO, which everyone knows FOMO. It's talked about a lot. What was I thinking? I think everyone's had those moments where they go, oh my God, what was I thinking? I sometimes call them brain fart moments. If I had thought about that better, I probably wouldn't have done that. Our emotional trading. So yes, we've got FOMO, but we've also got the greed. We've got, when we're depressed, say, we've got different things. We've got all sorts of different emotions. Our impulsive decisions, again, I suppose that's also with that what was I thinking moment. Avoiding and delaying. If we have the fear and the doubt, we tend to avoid and delay different things. Control and focus. We can either perhaps control too much or focus too much, which is the micromanaging, or we can not enough and we can miss things because we're not paying attention enough. I like my little skeleton man, and just to hold on for dear life or the fear of doing anything. You just sit there and you hope for the best and you end up missing out. Frankenstein. So that can be a good thing. That's when you're learning. So now you're learning from Partha, you're learning from Marty, you're learning from different aspects. But you have to make sure that what you're learning is consistent with everything together. You can't take bits from everybody because people are making progress or they're saying that they're doing well and hope that they fit together when they may not fit together at all. If inconsistent results, it's the roll of the dice. It is gambling. So, it's a 50-50 chance. Is it going to work? If it's not going to work. But I believe the statistics are 22% that you will get right if you just completely roll the dice without anything. Where we place blame and attribution. So we generally, if we have a fear and doubt mindset, we look at the blame being ourselves and the attribution being an external, whether it be luck or whether it be, that somebody else told you or whatever the case is. When we have a fear and doubt mindset, we basically tend to internalize the blame for an outcome that we don't like. We don't have a plan or a strategy. So a plan being a life plan, not just a plan for your trading. It's a strategy for your trading. It's that journal and that edge. It's what everyone talks about with you have to have things down. As far as I'm aware, there is no computer that has been created that can match the human brain when it comes to pattern matching and finding the areas that we need in trading. The difference is that we have different aspects that computers don't that stop us from beating them. So if we look at the fear and doubt mindset, as per normal, we have that neurological and psychological, physical, but we also have contextual perception and behavior. Imposter syndrome, and I don't know if people have sort of touched on them before. Emotional intelligence, as everybody has pretty much heard of emotional intelligence before in some way, shape or form. And we have our other influences, which is our environment, those sorts of things. If we start with our wiring and our neurological and psychological factors. So from previous, we know that the wiring connects our external information to our psychological processes. It decides what pathways are used, and again, the more it fires, the more it wires. So the more that we use a particular pathway, the stronger it gets over any other pathway. And from this, with this behavior, or where our behavior, it becomes a part of our wiring and it becomes part of our past experiences. So Partha, I think what you were trying to say before was we are making a new past.
Yes.
Because our past dictates what we expect to happen, and that's what we base our behavior on. So when we make a new past, we change our expectations so we can change our outcomes, which is making new memories as well. So in saying that, if we have an experience in the past that we consider to be a failure and disappointment, we can create, in essence, more situations where we have a failure and disappointment, because that's what we're used to. It ends up becoming a cycle. And we eventually become afraid, or we have a fear of uncertainty itself. Looking at that neurological side of things, it is fear and doubt definitely they're a part of our wiring and our neurological systems. I've talked before about the our stress response and different things like that. So we've got, our brain processing, our prefrontal cortex, how our amygdala hijacks us at times, and how we can get caught up in our past and what we expect the future to bring based on that past. Sorry, hang on a second. Which also comes down to that, again, we make a new past so we can change our expectations, and the expectations are what we base our behavior on. So the only fact we have, though, is what is happening now, and we do tend to forget that. Our body in itself would prefer a balance. It's homeostasis. And I've got my head a bit, sorry. So homeostasis is basically the balance. When our body is not in balance, we choose to find whatever answers we can get to bring balance back into our body. If we have uncertainty, uncertainty brings anxiety, and anxiety is fear. If we have a response that we feel comfortable with because we're used to that response, we will go over that. We will use that regardless of whether we're used to it or whether it's helpful or not, whether it gives us the outcome that we want or not. It's one of those things that we will just do what we need to do to make us happy, to make a body happy, without caring whether the response is actually correct or not correct. It just makes us happy and it brings our body back into a balance. Anything new or anything that wants to break the cycle will actually take us out of balance. And because it doesn't give us, we haven't got a quick fix, we will actually try and avoid anything that's new. So I haven't actually talked about a vagus nerve before. And it's actually one of the really, really important nerves that we have. It's actually considered to be a cranial nerve, and it actually is the only one that has an interaction with every nervous system we have. It provides information from the external world to the brain, to the organs, to the body. So it does provide some. So when I say some, it doesn't provide all information. It does only provide selected information. It is the thing that creates or connects everything from the external world to the internal organs through to the brain and then back out again. It's the only nerve that is a sensory nerve and a motor nerve. So it can actually create or take in the sensations and then allow us to act on them at the same time. So it connects the different parts of our brain. So it actually connects the amygdala, the hippocampus, hypothalamus, the prefrontal cortex, our sensory motor cortex, our cerebellum, and our adrenal glands. So it is, so I have talked before, and I know Partha has talked before about the amygdala hijack, and we've talked about, our stress response, and we've talked about how, the HPA axis then actually creates fight or flight, those sorts of things. Well, the vagus nerve is actually what creates or is what connects the brain to the adrenal glands. So that's the pathway that it takes to get there. So when information comes in, it actually goes through the cerebellum, which is our automatic behaviors, up into our thalamus. It goes into our hippocampus for our memories. It goes into our amygdala for our emotions. And it will actually go into our hypothalamus as well. When it can actually stop at the hypothalamus if it detects a threat, and it can reverse itself, and it can actually then decide what automatic behaviors need to be done based on that threat without us even being conscious. In effect, the vagus nerve is, if you look at the macro micro, the vagus nerve is the macro that provides the information for our wiring, that then sends that information to the parts that are our psychological processing and interpretation and things like that. So if we don't get given that information, we can't use that information to use in any way. If we can't get information from the outside world, we can't create a memory for that information itself. So it can actually in itself create that fight or flight without you even knowing about it. It's our actions and reactions. Because it looks after, or it does dictate what information goes into the prefrontal cortex and to different parts of the brain, it can have an effect on our cognitive processes as well. If the information's not there, then we can't use it. There is also, some people believe in that spiritual aspect, some people don't. However, we can look at spiritual as more than just a religion. We look at spiritual as something that is an internal aspect that allows us to connect to ourselves, to make sure that we're on the right path for ourselves and not from internal access or aspects. The interesting thing about the vagus nerve is that it actually connects also to the voice box, which is very interesting. My accident has created damage to my vagus nerve, which is why my voice actually goes strange at times, and I get that croaky voice that makes me sound sick, but I'm actually not. I think one of the most important things is our contextual perception. These are the biases that most people have. We talked about, I suppose most people know about, your cognitive biases and your cognitive perception, what information we remember, what we don't. Our contextual perception and behavior is really how we see ourselves in a particular moment, in a particular situation. So we're different people at home versus when we're at work, where I'm different with clients when I am with my colleagues, but I'm different with my colleagues than I am with my family. It's different. We're expected to be different, or we know that we're different. This is very much the case when it comes to our cultures, our religions, just different aspects of our social life. The thing that also occurs with that contextual perception is that we start to develop a perception of a reality. And sometimes the reality that we perceive is not always the reality that is actually there. So the expectation we have of ourselves and our thought and behavior patterns, it actually comes from the reality that we perceive, not the reality that actually exists itself. Say somebody texts you, you text somebody and they don't text back. Some people just sort of think, well, they're busy. Other people then see that as you've done something wrong, they upset you, or you've upset them. And there becomes a whole different reality on what happens with that. And we then base our thoughts and our behaviors in the future based on the reality that we have created ourselves. And another one of those aspects I see a lot is that, we must have a positive mindset to be able to succeed. We must have, success is, making money, or, success for some people is just getting out of bed in the morning or being alive. So what we perceive as success is different for everybody. If you've had trauma, then your perception of what is success is going to be far, far different from a person who has never experienced trauma. When you start to perceive that you must, say, have a positive mindset to achieve, when you don't have a positive mindset, which is impossible to have all the time, I might add, then you start to see that you failed. And then you start to change your behavior to continue that perception that you are a failure. So when we look at our perception, is reality, I think one of Mark Douglas actually said it well, in that we have to be careful about what we project into our future, because nothing else has the potential to create more unhappiness than the emotional misery than an unfulfilled expectation. Sorry, I'm actually having problems talking today.
Kerry, Marty is asking a question. Hi, Kerry. Do you have simple tricks to keep a positive conceptual perception?
I do, and that's coming later. Good question.
Okay.
Um,
Continue.
but that's okay. I'm more than happy to answer that now if you like. The conceptual perception is really being in the now. We need to be in the now, not in what we think is going to happen. Realistically, as much as the past is great because that's what we base our future on and our expectations on and our behavior, the past is imperfect because our memory is not perfect. Our future hasn't happened yet, so we can't base it on that. But the only facts we have available to us are what's in front of us right now. And we have to look at those facts because there are no two situations that are the same. There's always something different. I say to a lot of my clients, as much as they hate it, it is what it is, and you do what you got to do. That's as simple as that. I don't know if that helped at all, but I do actually have some particular tips. But again, it's not about being positive. It's whether it's helpful and constructive, because it's not always going to be pleasant and have your desired outcome. And that's the whole point of that personal development. I don't know. Did that help, Marty?
Yeah, it did. It's just I'm not thinking something positive is going to happen, but we have to be a realist as well. We have to take
We
things on
do,
board as
absolutely.
it is.
And that's what I say. It is what it is, and we do what we have to do. And although that's a terrible thing to think, and a lot of people don't like that when I say it, it is the truth. Yeah, and I have been through my fair share of trauma, and I've had to do just what I've had to do. You just get through it. One of the things that I've found with your contextual perception and behavior is we generalize. So when I say generalize, your decision that you have as to what coffee you buy when you go down the supermarket is different to whether your decision making to putting on say a $10,000 trade. You know, buying coffee is not as significant as putting on that $10,000 trade, but sometimes it can actually blend together, and you can either have a much harder time picking coffee or your decision on whether to put a trade on can be as simple and as impulsive as what coffee to buy today. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And obviously that's not going to work very well because they're far different. So imposter syndrome. I don't know if anyone has heard of imposter syndrome before. Has anyone heard of imposter syndrome before? You don't need to actually answer. Maybe just like put your hand up or give me a thumbs up or something like that.
Not really.
Not
Andrew?
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Andrew has raised his hand. Andrew?
yeah,
Definitely. Yep.
I think everybody at some stage has had that imposter syndrome. It's when you feel like you actually you don't fit in. Your achievements aren't right. People see you differently. I am the same. Everyone at some stage is definitely the same. People are going to see us as a fraud for what we are truly, but realistically, we are worth what we're worth. What other people see us as, that's our value, not what we actually think ourselves. Both of my daughters actually, whenever they do well at school, they actually start thinking, oh, well, that was because you helped me, or that was because I had a tutor. And regardless of which, it was still them that achieved it. I really like the rooster with the flamingos. I think that was cool. So some of the biggest traits with the imposter syndrome is that perfectionist. I have been definitely guilty of this. I can sit there and I can look at something for months to try and get it right. Paralysis, that is that avoidance. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be found out. So I actually just don't do anything. It's that, hold on for dear life or fear of doing anything. We have our people pleasing, which is trying to do what other people think that you should do, even though that doesn't feel right for you. And procrastination. So again, part of that is micromanaging, which is too much. We do that all or nothing, which is something that everyone does, and is that big thing with growth mindset. So you're either positive or negative. You've got a growth mindset or you don't. It's not that simple. Even with what I say with that pleasant or unpleasant, that's not a one or the other either. It's a degree. And for you, it's a personal choice as to what is pleasant or unpleasant, or what degree it actually is in there. We do that risky decision because we're trying to please other people. It's not what we want ourselves, so we just try and do whatever we need to do. Avoiding and procrastinating, I think everyone at some stage has done that, procrastinate. We miss opportunities because we're worried about whether we're going to be seen as a fraud. Are we going to take everything that we could have taken? We actually had a difficulty in recalling any memories that we have of an achievement, or actually making memories of an achievement. We have unrealistic expectations of ourselves. We feel like we should be doing more. We should feel like we're giving more. Comparing ourselves to other people, which is definitely something that I think most people do at some time. They think that they should be doing that extra mile. They should be able to keep every client. You should be able to win most trades. You should not be making any bad decisions, which isn't realistic. Our blame and attribution. So with blame and attribution, that is, do we blame ourselves for the mistakes and attribute our success to luck and to other people, and we downplay our skills like it's not really us. It's some sort of external factor. Other people just don't know as much, therefore they're fine with that. They just don't understand. I think everyone in the world knows the SWOT thing. So if you look at the imposter syndrome, our strengths are the only ones that are not significant to achieving. Our weaknesses contradicts any thoughts. So if you think, oh my God, I can achieve, I can do this, I can do that. Well, your weaknesses are telling you, it's that voice that tells you that you can't do that. We end up not being able to see our opportunities because we don't see that we're able to take advantage of them at all. And our threats, that's just us. We are our biggest threat. Emotional intelligence. It's do people know emotional intelligence? I mean, I think it's something that they talk about a lot. People talk about a lot, emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is not just as simple as just how you see other people. Our empathy, and things like that. It's actually a combination. It's how our brain and our feelings and our emotions come together. It's what takes over. So I said before, you know, that our computers cannot beat our ability to recognize patterns. Well, the thing that gets in our way is our emotions. When we feel, we have stops us from reacting the way a computer reacts because it doesn't feel. It just purely works on a program. With our emotional intelligence, so there's different ways to evaluate the emotional intelligence. Generally, it's a quotient. The quotient, the one I use is the Baron, it's called, because it actually looks at more than just traits, our personality traits, which a lot of people actually look at as being their emotional intelligence. And, you know, that just means that if it's a trait of our personality, then we would have to change her personality to be able to change the way we look at things. So if we look at the Baron, which is what I use, we have that intrapersonal, which is for ourselves, that self-awareness, our assertiveness, and our independence. We have our empathy and relationships and responsibility to other people, how we interact with other people, how we actually relate and connect to other people, our ability to manage stress. That's our emotional regulation. That's our stress tolerance and our control of our impulses and our adaptation. Can we look at reality and actually make that difference? Are we flexible in different situations, which is definitely our contextual perception? And are we able to problem solve objectively without having to have our emotions control us? When we look at general mood, we actually aren't just looking at, you know, whether we're happy, sad, that sort of thing, but our motivation and yes, our happiness, but our optimism. And optimism isn't just everything's rosy, but it's that, will it be okay? Will it end okay? And from my experience, I have always believed that your worst experiences can be your best experiences, can be the best things that ever happened to you. If at the moment, they are actually re-evaluating the emotional intelligence and they are removing the social aspect of that. So your interpersonal empathy, that sort of thing, they are removing that from emotional intelligence because there are so many people that are successful that don't have great interpersonal skills. If you look at like different conditions, so if you look at, say, autism, they don't have great interpersonal skills. People like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, other people like that, they have autism and they have technically a very, very low emotional intelligence quotient simply because they're not great with their social interaction. So they are actually changing that. If we are looking at a trait-based emotional intelligence, it's still very much the same. We're still looking at our well-being, our self-control, emotional, social, and independent. I think the difference is that with the trait one, we're actually looking at, do we have to change the whole person we are to be able to change the way we interact in the world? So if we were to look at a trader with, say, a high EQ, so take out their social aspect to that. So taking out that, we would have a trader with a plan, and they would keep a journal, they would have confidence in their strategy, they wouldn't be influenced by emotion. If we were looking at a trader with a low EQ, we would be looking at FOMO. So it would be somebody that reacts compulsively, jumps on trends, and fears that missing out. We can look at, say, the trader with a plan, conducting analysis and looking for facts, rather than taking an opportunity and following rumors, social media. Setting a comfortable risk to reward ratio versus upside and maximizing exposure. Person that is high uses their sensible stop loss, takes profits, rather than that risky position, that panic that closes out. The high IQ follows a plan, keeps a log, and achieves their trading goals. Whereas the person with a low EQ doesn't have a plan, or if they do have a plan, they don't actually follow their plan. It's something that I really like is Warren Buffett actually said that if the important thing is if you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. So it's knowing when to stop, knowing when you follow your plan, when your stop loss is there, and just do what you need to do. The other influences that we have, so we have so many influences against us. We have those pessimists, so not only the doubt in our head, but we have the other people that feel like they need to be that devil's advocate. They need to argue everything. The people that just hate you because you're successful or because you are following your dream and doing what you need to do. We definitely have our relatives and our family and friends who don't like change themselves. So that actually changes their balance as well because it's change. They don't like that. For us, we have, of course, our fear and our doubt. And we have our guilt as well. And all of that, we have to go through all of that before we get to our goal. In saying that, we can actually look at our society being wired in a way, just like we are, it's wired. Our whether we grow up with our culture, our religion, just the way our family has always been as such, it's the way our environment is wired, which is why we are wired in the same way. It's like we have a specific criteria that we must follow. And again, I was saying before about how we have that criteria as, it's that. And when I do these things, I actually do go out there and I do look a lot at what is said and what other, say, psychologists and what other courses are saying. And that growth mindset, that positive way of thinking, that's a specific criteria, and you're not always going to fit that. And not everyone has a positive way of thinking all the time. And we don't want that because it actually becomes toxic. We don't want that toxic. It actually becomes counterproductive. So we want to leave that behind. When we look at these other influences, we are looking at our environment, which is the tools we use, our routine and our order. Are we structured? Are we not? What tools do we have? Do we have the right tools that we need? It would be if I was trying to, say, do these presentations on something that was, didn't give me the ability to, say, provide the information that I needed to, then that wouldn't be helpful for me. If you chose the wrong platform that doesn't give you the information you need, what have we got there? What have we got available? Do we choose a routine for ourselves that doesn't match? I know that there's a lot of people who do this with families. And I've heard people say, oh, Thursday's not a good day for me to trade because it's something to do with the market. Whereas is it really, or is it just that on Thursdays it's payday, bills get paid, takeaway happens, kids go to dancing, kids go to sport, everyone's everywhere, and really you just get distracted a lot. And also where you trade, do you try and trade in your bedroom? Do you try and trade in a room where the lounge room where everyone else is and there's all sorts of distractions? Those sorts of things are all influences that affect your results, which then in effect affect that fear and doubt response for everybody. We have our social, cultural, and religious aspects. So that's what support we have. How often we look at social media. I actually have a ban on social media, and I know that Ben does as well. We don't look at social media because people only put on social media what they want you to know. They don't put the truth on social media most of the time. Boundaries, it's an important thing because we actually need our boundaries. We need to have boundaries for ourselves, but we need to know when to be able to say no to other people. And this one is one that some people don't believe in, but I believe is a bigger influence than other people believe it is. Manipulation. Oh, that disappeared. Manipulation, FUD, as in fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Our habits and our training. So manipulation, we are manipulated by other things in our environment. Parents, our religion, all sorts of things. I don't know if anyone's heard of the actual term of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Generally, it's used in crypto more than anything else, but it's there. Our habits are the things that we are used to doing. We just keep doing them because it creates less anxiety and our body prefers that for our balance. And training isn't just what we do when we do some sort of education. Training is what we learn from our parents and from our upbringing. I think training is something that's actually really, really apt because when we grow up, and I don't know how many people are as old as me, but we grow up in an environment where we get told by our parents that we don't understand what we're doing, we don't know the consequences of our actions, and that they give us all these different aspects of what we've done wrong and what the possibilities are, and then they give us the answers and tell us that their way is better. And I wonder whether that actually gives us doubt ourselves. Do we start to look at other people for the answers because we are so used to being told what is right and that we can't make those decisions ourselves? And we start to wonder, can we actually do that? If we look at that side aspect and that manipulation, I don't know who else is as old as me in that as well, but the Y2K, that year 2000 bug that came with the computers, oh my gosh, the year 2000, everything's going to crash and the world's pretty much going to come to an end and the nuclear bombs are going to launch and everything bad's going to happen. And people made money from that. They sold computer programs, people sold different types of computers. People were really freaked out by the fact that might happen. The actual FUD sort of thing came out with IBM initially when they tried to convince people not to go to the competitor's computer. So they basically tell you what is wrong and what will happen. They create fear. They create uncertainty that you're not going to be able to fix the problem and it's going to be disastrous. And then they give you a solution, which is a survival kit. those sort of things. I think most people were so aware of it that in 2022, when they tried to do the same thing, most people ignored it. The other thing I actually did notice before, and I don't know what people are thinking of it, but is those bear and those bull traps. It's the manipulation of the market and how that affects all of us. I was in the bank where in 92 when the English pound just crashed. And that was George Soros, and he shorted the English pound. He sold the equivalent of $10 billion worth of English pound and bought the Deutschmark, or the German mark, and then got onto the media and actually said that he believed that the pound was actually going to crash. But he actually, in essence, actually created the crash. So, we look at manipulation in a number of different ways. We have our bear and bull trap, which is definitely evident. So if we want to make change, we need to do an objective evaluation and a plan for ourselves. We have to look at where we are and what we are and where our downfalls are objectively, which is a difficult thing to do. I believe that it's the emotional quotient it's an assessment that people can do to look at where their emotional intelligence is, where their downfalls are, and what they need to improve on. And I also often use it's called a wellness wheel or a life satisfaction wheel. And that includes, with your business life and, how you're feeling about things. Are you happy with your finances? Are you happy with your career? What about your health and fitness, your fun and recreation? We need to find that nothing box. We need to find the balance. Our environment and our community, our family and our partners, which are different, and our growth and our spirituality. So I know spirituality is a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, but it doesn't necessarily need to be spirituality as in God and religion. It's a different aspect of things. So with this different aspect, we look at how we feel we are with our income and our money management. Are we where we thought we would be? Do we have the purpose that we want, or do we have purpose at all? Are we as successful as we would like to be, or are we successful at all? And are we having that growth? Physical and mental health, are we definitely making sure that we're looking after ourselves, enjoying life? We all need to enjoy life. If you can't enjoy life, then what's the point of doing any of them? Are we being productive? Is our environment pleasant and is it stimulating? I don't know if anyone else has had the issue where they just feel stagnant. They feel like everything's just, same thing, different day. And that's not great for anybody. When we connect with our community, culture or religion, that's not always just, go out and volunteer. That's just finding the people that we can connect with common ground. When we look at our relationships, we are also looking at the quality and connection and support and communication. So what's a communication? What's it a quality? Are they allowing you to be you? Do you have to try and put on a face and be somebody else for them to like you? Does it come down to that imposter syndrome? And what sort of support are they giving you? Are they giving you the support you need to pursue goals? Are they giving you pressure? Do you find you're connecting with socially? Do you find it fulfilling? Is it rewarding? Are you getting something out of it? With education, do you have an open mind, or are you closed off and you will only learn what you want to learn? And when we talk about that spirituality again, we're not talking about the religion. We're talking about a connection with ourself and our understanding of ourself, which really comes back to that emotional intelligence as well. So and really, we are looking at rewiring ourselves. So if we want to look at that SWOT thing again, so we're looking at the different things we need to look at, what helps us work at our best, and the things that stop you from working at your best. What you need, so the tools you need to be able to identify your opportunities. And what you need to be able to identify your threats. If you're not in the moment and you're too much in your thoughts of the past, then you're not able to recognize the threats that you have in front of you right now. And these are the things that help you with uncertainty, when you can know your strengths and use your strengths to overcome your weaknesses, and use your strengths to be able to identify the opportunities you have, which aren't always going to be obvious. You can then find those threats and use techniques or tools to be able to overcome or identify the threats that you have. Self-care. Self-care is one of those things that is really, really important for everybody. And it does incorporate physical, emotional, spiritual, psychological, professional, and relationships. So remembering spiritual is not just religion. And I re-emphasize that because I have so many people that roll their eyes when I say that to them. So our physical is the physical factors that influence our performance and our mental state. So part of that is definitely we need to look at our diet, and are we making sure that we are getting medical attention when we need to get a medical attention, different things like that. So emotional is maintaining an emotional, healthy atmosphere, and internal. Are we controlling ourselves? Improving our coping skills and our resilience. It's that self-reflection and our emotional intelligence. Our spiritual, as I was saying, is connecting with our inner self and moving forward and making sure that we are consistent with ourselves, making sure that we're not worried about what other people expect of us, but we're happy with ourselves. There's so many people who do a job and they do that job because they feel that they need to do these particular things, but it's against every value that they have. It's maintaining that balance, which is that homeostasis, and it's actually being able to maintain clarity and focus in everything that you're doing as well. The psychological factors that influence our physical and cognitive function. So it's pretty much everything. It's our thoughts and our behavior patterns. It pretty much covers most things. With our professional, so many people see ourselves and define themselves in terms of what they are as their profession. Somebody says to me, "What are you?" or "Who are you?" And sometimes the first thing you say is what you do for a job. What do you do for a living? That's the first thing that you think of. That's the first reasonably positive thing that you think of. But it's also making sure that you have your goals. So goals for life and goals for your profession, to make sure that they are consistent and balanced. And then we have our relationships. So relationships being relationships with our family, relationship with our friends, relationships in our social environment, relationship with ourselves, because we always forget ourselves. Anyone really who is a parent, or has been a parent, or carer for somebody knows what I'm talking about. We forget ourselves and we forget to follow our own path. So some suggestions for this. So if we're looking at our physical aspects, so we need to have a healthy diet, we need to exercise. Sensory diet is really important. A sensory diet is making sure that all of our senses are actually covered, because our senses are the things that turn the computer of our brain on. We need to make sure that we're always there, and to make sure that you do things that you enjoy. If you're emotional, is make sure that you feel your emotions and forgive yourself, and laugh. Have a good time. When I say forgive yourself, everyone does things that they regret, they look back and they wish they hadn't done. And they're the things that you need to forgive yourself for. When it comes to the spiritual aspect, that is the self-reflection. Do you do something? Just sit down and do a journal. Have a look at things. Look at your values. Do something that's inspiring, and connect with yourself. Some people pray, some people meditate, and some people, you just find the nothing box. I like to find the nothing box. When you're looking at your psychological, you can learn something new, because that gives you that sense of achievement, as well as just stimulating those cognitive abilities. Definitely have some no technology time. We need time where we can separate ourselves from the internet, from the technology. We need to remove ourselves. We need to make sure that we don't go onto social media, and we don't judge ourselves, and we don't judge ourselves based on other people. But we also need to challenge ourselves as well. And when we challenge ourselves, we start accepting that we're not always going to we're not always going to do well, and we're going to fail times. And it's really important to be able to do that. When we look at our professional, we need to set limits. So make sure that there is definitely a balance between your home and your work. Sometimes you do need to take your work home with you, but that doesn't mean you always need to take your work home with you. Sometimes it's study. It's a balance that you have to make sure that you have. It's a development of your professional self, and also making sure that not only are you balanced with your home and work or study life, but you're also in a direction and have a purpose that you're wanting to follow, not others. With relationships, we're talking about setting boundaries, allocating time. So that's allocating time for yourself alone, which again is really, really difficult at times when you've got a lot of commitments. Staying connected with yourself, with your family, with partners or husbands or spouses, and being grateful. And grateful is one of the things that we are, as I suppose a whole society, we find difficult. So if we need to look at our interventions, our psychological interventions, because we can really take them into that psychological and that neurological aspect. So restricting our social media, or having more of a plan on our social media, making sure that we don't care whether we get likes, or making sure that we're not up there with everybody else. Making sure that we have a plan, and that we're not just, throwing the dice. It's a punt, maybe, maybe not. Let's see what happens. And again, our boundaries, making sure you have clear boundaries. Your boundaries not only need to be able to say when you're going no, but also when you're looking at what the consequences are as well. Being in the now moment, making sure that you are paying attention to exactly what is going on now. Look around you, see what's happening in your world right now. Well, plans, having a life plan, knowing where you want to go and what you want to do. And I generally don't like goals too far away, because there are so many things that can happen that can change those goals. And you can start to feel like a failure. I mean, who would have thought COVID happened? And, here in the Whitsundays, we had Cyclone Debbie. It wasn't even supposed to hit us, and then all of a sudden it crossed the border and it cleaned us out. So we also need to make sure that they are realistic. We're not trying to aim for something that we can't achieve, especially knowing that we can't achieve it, so we can actually reinforce that aspect of doubt in ourselves that we can't do things. It's changing our perception. So before I mentioned, we often see that things should be that positive or negative, or that happy or sad, or that, growth or fixed. And it's really a changing the perception of whether you're down because of where you were, or like the fact that you were actually happy that you were there to start with, which is awesome. And I have to say, the first thing, apart from it being terrible, when Partha was talking about the war in with Palestine and Israel, is, well, I think it's the first time that actually Israel has recognized Palestine. So, you've got to see something good in it sometimes. Reflection, personal reflection. It's listening to those two voices and talking to them and evaluating yourself, what's right or wrong. And also your self-care plan, making sure that you have a self-care plan. You don't need to cover those things all the time, every day. You need to cover some of those things and make sure that, say, at the end of the week, you have covered all of those aspects. Our physical interactions. So we are looking at rewiring ourselves. We want to practice gratitude daily. I've actually given people a gratitude challenge before, and they've sort of questioned me with, well, are you asking me to just find like what I like about the weather today, or do I need to give you a reason? And it's not about, it can be something really insignificant, but you're trying to rewire yourself to look at just gratitude. It doesn't matter what it's about. The more you do it, the more it will become a natural thing. Getting out of your comfort zone. So if you look at a comfort zone sort of scenario, comfort zone, the first thing that comes out of your comfort zone is your fear zone, and you need to get out of that. So finding something regularly, weekly at least, that gets you outside of your comfort zone, something that you wouldn't normally do and that you are resisting. So laughing and singing and smiling. So laughing and singing especially, they actually activate your vagus nerve. Because your vagus nerve is actually your voice box. So that's when you laugh and sing. You're actually activating both parts of your brain, so both sides of your brain, the creative part, which is actually the music, say, and then the left part, which is, say, the words, and you're singing, which is also a different part. It's the vagus nerve, it's the functioning, it's all of those things that are connecting together. And laughing, smiling, they're changing your brain chemistry, they're making you feel good. Brain gym is something that I do that I've actually found to be really good. It's a type of kinesiology, it's a pressure point type of thing that I can actually teach as well. But it is a significant thing, especially for vagus nerve and intervention for mental health, learning disabilities, or focus, control, those sorts of things. So brain gym is actually a really good thing as well, which you can find some things on the internet, but I can actually teach them as well. Creating new memories. So create a new past and you can create a new future. So let's just say today is tomorrow's past, which can then be a new future because you can create expectations based on your new past rather than the past that you always have as a habit. Plan, which is something that I do a lot with my clients where I'm actually working, is actually getting them to create a plan for really insignificant things and then making them follow the plan, right or wrong, whether it works or not, they have to follow their plan because next time they do that plan, they reevaluate the plan. And that's a matter of wiring. Being aware of yourself consciously. So we have all these emotions, we have all of these thoughts, we have everything, but are we aware of them consciously? We need to stop and bring them into our conscious mind so we can be aware of them and we can do something about them. We can't stop them or change them or reflect on them if we let them go wildly on their own. And the only way we can do that is if we are consciously aware of everything that we do, not just the bad things, but everything. And practice. We want to make sure that if we do get hijacked, that the cerebellum has the correct behaviors in there. So if we do get hijacked and they do take the automatic behaviors are the correct behaviors. And the more we practice, the better we will be. And the more those behaviors will be there. Can't guarantee it, but for the most part, that will be the case. And facing uncertainty. We need to look at something every day that we are uncertain of. And instead of looking to other people, we need to look for ourselves with the answers. That's the only way. If we are wired to look to other people for the answers, that is the only way that we are actually going to be able to redo it ourselves. We need to be able to accept our failures and face the difficult situations that we have in life. So that is pretty much all I have, and I hope that people get something out of that. So I don't know. Has anyone got any questions?
That was fantastic, brilliant, top of the class. I think it is better than 10 times reading the book of Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone. It was fantastic. The time and effort you have put into the presentation is absolutely world class, and the depth of knowledge is brilliant. So I have two questions before anyone asks for them, so that my question is answered first. So now that you talked about vagus nerve, the voice box, from a trader's perspective, does all the information goes always from amygdala to hippocampus to hypothalamus to prefrontal to sensory to cerebellum to adrenal glands, or it skips something and then goes straight to amygdala or something like that?
Goes straight from the it goes up through the spinal cord and it goes to the cerebellum, goes up through to the amygdala. It does go to the thalamus, but with the thalamus is always a delay because the amygdala decides whether there's a threat before it continues through. So it uses memories, it uses the amygdala to decide if there's a threat. And if there's a threat, it actually activates the hypothalamus. If there's no threat, then it will allow the information to go through to right through to the parietal lobe, which is the motor and sensory cortex. This.
So for taking any trade decision, so we as trader go through all these parts of the brain, is it?
Yep, pretty much. The vagus nerve is pretty important because it is a motor and a sensory nerve. It actually can do all of it. It can actually make the decision as to whether you're going to see it as a threat and do the fight and flight and go back out, pick up the automatic behaviors and then make you behave without you even actually being consciously aware of it at all. It does everything. It can do the whole thing. So if you're, say, if your memories and if you're, I suppose, wired for that fear and doubt sort of aspect of things, then instantly you're going to have a fear response and your vagus nerve is going to take over and it's going to actually make you behave without you having actually a choice or even an awareness.
And my second question is a simple one. The wheel of life which you showed, do you have an optimum score or there is no score at all?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I think you showed some kind of wheel of life in which we have score from 0 to 9.
Yep.
Yeah, so if we
Well,
club together, do we have an optimal score for a good trader or a bad trader or no?
Well, that's up to you. It's where your goal is. So, say for instance, my dad actually he broke his hip and he was in a hospital and flat on his back. His goal was to just learn something and not go crazy while he was laying in bed. Whereas for other people, it's to make money. So it really depends on where you're at as a person as to what you want to achieve. So obviously you'll be looking at, you want to have a higher ability to look at yourself and to understand yourself and to be able to regulate yourself. You would like to have, so that social aspect isn't as important as a trader. It isn't as important as the other aspects are. A lot of people don't like this, but basically if you want to trade and you want to be successful, in my opinion, you have to have no emotion. You have to not care about anybody else. It's just you're a machine. And to survive in the world, you can't take that attitude and that position into the rest of the world because it doesn't work very well. But in that trading point of view, you have to be a machine. You know, when George Soros shorted the English pound, he didn't care about how that affected everybody in England. He didn't care that he basically broke the bank. He cared that he wanted to make money and he made money. That's it. And that's what you need to look at. If you want to trade, you remove emotion.
It is so helpful, especially with the traders who deals with the uncertainty every moment. You talked about uncertainty on a daily basis, but we as traders deal uncertainty with every moment. So your lecture, especially today, was a gold mine for us as a trader. Thank you so very much, Kerry. Really appreciate. Now questions to Kerry, please.
Carrie, all I would like to add that, like, thank you so much. It felt like the whole session is just for me today. Like, seriously, I can't have the words to explain my thank you inside.
no problems. Yeah, I'm here for people if they want to have a chat to me about making
Yeah.
it a little bit more personal for their situation.
Because like you know how nicely you explain about the fears and how we can come out from that. Sometimes answers are in front of us, we just don't like, we can't see them. So it's really helped me out, because from last few weeks I was using only one word, if Partha sir, you remember that, like, yes, my brain is boiling, right? So I got the answer today for that, like, because I was facing some issue with some sort of markets, like to read it on and everything. And now just, it's a very, very nicely you explain everything. I just actually, now I felt that what mistake I was doing in all that time, but it's actually going to help me out with my trading, and even in my personal life as well, that how to follow the things and how to maintain all these things to be on the right way. Thank you so much, seriously. Like, I don't know that how can I explain you that how thankful I am right now.
I'm really glad I could help. Absolutely. I know what it's like sometimes to actually have that one person that just says that one thing that clicks with you, and yeah, all of a sudden you sort of wow,
No, but
light
all of
bulbing.
your sessions, Gary, all of your sessions. I'm really sorry that but all of your sessions, they just help me out. Like, seriously, I just see that, like, how nicely I'm going on with my paths. This is like really, really great.
I'm glad. That's good. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
Did anyone have any questions or anything, feedback, anything that they would like in the future? Because it's sort of like me trying to guess what people would like. So yeah, please, if you've got any input or if there's something that you would like me to cover or talk about, let me know.
Brilliant. Thanks a ton for all of you. Sorry, we exceeded our time because we could not plan it properly, but it is Scary who delivered the tremendous gold mine to us. Thank you all for your time, and till next time, trade well and take care. Bye for now.
Thank you everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.